Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of Late Night Q&A with ZodWriter. I've got my special guest tonight, Ashley the Widow. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Happy to be here.
I'm just happy to see you. This is awesome. I figured we
Yes.
would do a one-on-one live stream and would just hang out with the chat, talk about a lot of different topics tonight, and I'm just glad that you could be here. How have you been?
Doing good. Doing good. Busy working, that type of thing. But, happy to talk about a lot of things. I've seen so many things and I haven't commented on a lot lately. So
No,
hopefully we can
I've
get into
been
some
doing
of
the same. It's like I've been doing the same. I've been kind of keeping a lot of my feelings to myself about a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff we've been seeing lately, and so I figure, well, check in with the chat to see what's going on. Mr. Chen says hi. Hello, Mr. Chen. Peter says, saw you on Twitter, Zod. Subbed. Well, thank you very much for the subscription. Appreciate it. Walk Hard says, belief is a powerful thing. Superman taught me that Cahill, I guess you mean Cavill, needs to return. And the Snyder fan 99 says, hey, Zod. Belle Reeve, what's up? Belle says, Zod, it's late. LOL. Have a nice stream, Zod and Ashley. And she also says, I'm out with the fam eating, so I'll watch the replay later. Okay, well, that's cool, Belle. Thank you for stopping by. I definitely appreciate it. We've got a dislike on the video already, and we haven't even started talking about anything. So I find that fascinating.
Amazing.
But Lucas Ironside says, "Hey Zod and Ashley, what's up, Lucas? This is awesome." But it's funny, Ashley, because I like to look at all these kinds of things about how when people on YouTube videos will dislike a video before it even starts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's happened to me so
I
much.
think this is one of the reasons why YouTube is the big headline that YouTube made was that they are slowly phasing out the dislike button on YouTube videos. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not for us content creators. I kind of feel like the dislike button, I feel like, should be there because you should be able to have a voice if you don't like something, or if you disagree with something. But I think it's pretty funny though when people dislike stuff right out of the gate. It's like, you can dislike it, but at least give us a chance to talk first before you thumbs down. I mean,
my take on them taking away the dislike button is just like, I've been targeted by a specific group who just like I made a video and like there's 60 dislikes. I know where those dislikes come from, right? So in a way I can understand, because it's like that bully mentality. There's that dumb bull crap that happens on YouTube where so in that way I get it. But just like overall taking that ability away to dislike content, I find it to be silly. But when there are people who just dislike your video for just to be rude or mean or for bully mentalities, I can understand it from that perspective, though.
Yeah, right. The negative bombing of a YouTube video, and it's funny to me because the film elitist says, "Hey, I know this girl. She makes fire videos," and you do, Ashley. You do make fire videos, and I've been known to be a bit controversial myself. So I think it's fascinating, but I also think that it's cool that people think enough about YouTubers in that sense to go out of their way to dislike their videos before they even begin. I think that says more about the people than it does the content creators.
Yes.
Because it's not like I go out and I do a video and my whole plan for doing a video, or for example doing this stream with you tonight, is just to piss a bunch of people off. No, I come out because I feel like it's going to be good content. I feel like we're going to talk about a lot of great different topics, and it just, it just turns out a certain way. It's like, if you don't like me for some reason, that's cool,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yeah.
mean, you might actually find that you have some common ground with me if you watch enough of my videos, and the same with you, Ashley. I mean,
Yeah. And then after a while, I just took it as like, you dislike it. Well, engagement is engagement, either
right?
way.
It doesn't matter.
Thank you. Like, I
Yeah.
really don't. So for me, I don't see the big point. Like, just keep it the way it is. And then if that specific content creator doesn't want the amount for everyone to see how many people dislike their video, then let them put that in their own setting, or but just an overall thing. I think we should just, it's silly. It really is.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely, and personally, I think the dislike button should stay there,
Yeah.
because I think that there's enough stuff out there that you can do. There's enough tools you can do to combat when it's like Lucas Ironside says, it's just a troll.
Yeah.
There's ways that you can comment. You can just get rid of trolls. You do have, mods in your chats and
Mm-hmm.
things like that are there for a reason, to give you the opportunity to control certain things so that you don't have so much negativity associated with your
And then
content.
sometimes when you dislike a video, because like I know that anytime that I've actually clicked the dislike on something that I watch, it's because maybe I didn't agree with your messaging. Like there's a video
Yeah.
that I watched in reference to something, and I feel like they weren't understanding or grasping it. I disliked their video. I've liked a lot of their other videos, but that one, it was like, I don't agree with it. What you're saying to me, I feel like is completely off base, and I dislike that, So to me, for me, if I dislike something, then I rarely do that. But to me, it's just like, no, so
A lot of
just
times,
leave
what I've
it.
found myself
It's
doing lately with videos that I watch from content creators that I like, that I don't agree with, if they say something that I don't agree with, or like what you just pointed out about the video, not agreeing with that particular point or whatever they were trying to say. For me, a lot of times I won't like or dislike it.
yeah.
I'll just, especially if it's somebody that you watch a lot, someone who you support, someone who you generally agree with them, but you say you disagree for whatever reason. It's like, I just
Yeah.
won't, like or dislike this particular video. So that's kind of how I handle it, because I never go out of my way to dislike a video unless I really disagree with the
I feel
content.
like sometimes I feel like it can be like constructive criticism.
Yeah.
So,
Or I mean, if
that's
you
how
feel
I
that
look at
strongly,
it.
and I also
Yeah.
feel like if you feel that strongly to where it's got to be, where like you just said, constructive criticism, then I'll comment,
Yeah.
because
And I do
if
that
it's
too, though. I do
yeah,
both,
it's
so yeah.
yeah. And Katsuka92 says, Hola, Zod and Ashley. Hey, what's going on, Katsuka? Katsuka says, hey, everyone. Andrew Casali says, hey, guys. What's going on, Andrew Casali? How are you, man? Hope all is going well with you. Jesse Allen says, hey, what's up? What's up, Jesse Allen? Hashtag release the air cut with Jesse Allen. Jesse, long time no see. Katsuka and Jesse going back and forth. And Andrew Casali says, it's me, the one, as Zod says. Yes, Andrew Casali, you are the one. You are Peter Parker from the 1960s, somehow time warped into 2021, which honestly, the guy uncannily looks like 1960s Peter Parker. I mean, right out of the Amazing Fantasy comic books.
I can see it. I can see it.
It's
Yes.
incredible. He's like, I don't know, like he was, in the minds of the creators at the time
He
when
is
they were
Peter
drawing.
Parker.
Yeah, he is. I have no doubt. I totally believe that. Andrew is the chosen one. And he says, I won't talk Spider-Man today because Ashley defends Holland and I love Toby. Well,
And I love Toby as well.
yeah, we are going to talk about Spider-Man. Listen, we have Ashley the Widow here, okay? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to shy away from talking about Marvel because I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm looking forward to talking about Spider-Man and all of these great properties. I mean, I'm one of the people that's in the minority, but I think that Eternals has potential to be the best MCU movie yet. And but that's just my opinion. So we'll get into all of that. We'll get into the MCU of course, because again, having you here, Ashley, it would be almost a sin not to
I
discuss
know,
the
right?
MCU. Absolutely, Andrew is a great big Spider-Man fan. He's like I mean, I tease him all the time about how he literally makes his own web shooters. I've told him, I'm like, I know you do that. I know you've made web shooters. I could see him using those web shooters, bouncing off of walls. I mean,
I
it just.
understand it. It's yeah. Spider-Man's hey, I love Toby. I just love Tommy more. That's all. I just love little Tommy more. That's it, guys.
And Katsuka says, Mori, you are the father. Okay, okay. That's on a completely different level. But yeah, you know what? Let's start off with Spider-Man. Let's talk about this new
Okay.
upcoming Spider-Man movie that's going to have 10 million cameos and is going to be this like epic, like I don't know what it's going to be.
Everything we're gonna know everything before December 17th. That movie. Yeah.
Everything but the kitchen sink and then
We
some.
know everything. Like it's sad.
I
Like
mean,
I'm the type of person I enjoy like little spoilers here and there, but
yeah,
like I'm just like everything. Like I like the one thing I would the one that bothered me the most is the Charlie Cox thing. Like I already knew Toby was there. I already knew Andrew was definitely there, right? And I kind of knew Charlie Cox was going to be in the movie, right? But I would have appreciated that moment if I would have been in the theater. And even though like I've heard rumors oh he might be there, but to then physically see it like revealed and confirmed, I would have been like just imagine a moment. And now, yeah, now I'm like scroll up on Twitter, there's a picture. I'm not blaming. I'm not one of those people that get mad at other people about it, but it's just like all this stuff, and it's just like hard if you don't know when these nukes are going to fall. So are you going to just completely stay away from some of these things and then you'll be out of the loop on so many other things, but it's just that's the only thing I want to say about
I I
that
I,
first before I get
I
into
can
the movie.
agree. I
It's
can
just
agree with you on Charlie Cox because I was excited when that information came out because that's one of the to me that Daredevil show on Netflix was like the crown jewel of the MCU for me. I
yeah.
love that series so much, and the idea of him coming back for a Spider-Man movie is awesome. I mean, and it would have been nice if they would have been able to keep it under wraps. I agree with you. That's one of those spoilers that we really did not need right now. And
Yeah.
I do feel like a lot of what's being spoiled and there's rumors that there's a work print of the movie that's going to leak online very soon and
It's
all kinds of things that are going to essentially spoil it even further. And I'm one of those
yeah.
people at this point, I don't want to know anything else.
I
I'm
know.
excited enough for the movie. I think the movie has potential to be good. It has potential to be overstuffed. It has potential to be a lot of different things. But one of the things I don't think it's going to be a bad movie.
Yeah, I agree.
It just
And I
looks like
agree.
it's going to be fun.
And
And
it's just like when I think about it, it's like, yeah, we only get the image on the bridge. I joked about it too, but it's like, we don't deserve anything but the image of the bridge, besides the bridge, because everybody's leaking everything. It's just, yeah, I can't wait to see the movie. But it's just like I said with Charlie Cox, I was like 95% sure he was in the movie, but it's still that little doubt. But you're like, if I would have been able to see it, it's just
I miss the
it would have
days
been
when we
more
really didn't
impactful.
know about a movie. You know, the internet has really ruined everything when it comes to these films. To be honest with you, it's like I'm super excited because the director's cut of Rocky IV is being released, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna finally be able to see that. It's gonna be on video on demand tomorrow, and there's
Oh
been
wow.
very little, in regards to spoilers of like new content and stuff. Very little. There was a trailer that was released, and I guess today there's a Fathom Events short theatrical thing going for it. So it should be cool. It should be nice to see it, but there's been virtually no real, spoilage like what
Yes.
we're getting for a lot of these bigger movies. Like I feel so bad about Spider-Man because like everything from the costumes to every possible cameo is being spoiled. Even they even managed to somehow ruin the idea of the very first Spider-Man who played Spider-Man in the 1970s TV show, Hammond. He They even approached him about if he's in the movie because allegedly he has a cameo in the movie, and of course he's denying it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a cameo just by virtue of the fact that everybody says at first that they're not in it. I mean, hell, even Charlie Cox said at first he wasn't in the movie.
And now, like, everybody's wondering, is Kristen Dunst in the movie? Like, I
Oh
really
yeah,
hope
I think
not.
she got. I think she got asked too, didn't she? I think she
Yeah,
got asked
like,
or something, and she had to give some kind of an excuse or something.
yeah. And like, I will, and before we get into the what we think about the movie, I do want to say this. I feel like that this kind of exposes Sony a little bit. That the security around this movie is so bad, and
always though.
and you have
Sony's terrible.
Spider-Man in your hands, right? You and you can't keep this under wraps. Like, yeah, we know things have spoiled, and DC films and like and MCU movies, but it just seems like with this movie, it's just like this big grand end of this 3-part trilogy, and everything is just it's just like coming
Well,
out of
in
nowhere.
some cases, it's being called in some circles, it's being called the end game of
Yeah,
Spider-Man movies.
just because this trilogy ends and then he's going to start a whole new path,
And
kind of.
and
Yeah,
then didn't Tom Holland himself? He was quoted as saying that this movie is brutal and that it's not any
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
So
he
what?
did.
So what does that mean for us? Are we literally getting a Spider-Man Wrath of Khan type of movie where it's just going to be like a bloodbath where
Aunt May dies.
all of the Spider-Mans die, Aunt May dies, and the only Spider-Man left standing at the end of the film is Miles Morales?
That's exactly what I was going to say. At this point, Miles, even though I wouldn't be shocked if we see some hint of Miles Morales, just him having a bigger role than just a cameo at this point could be the only thing that would shock me in the movie at this point, because I feel like we know a lot. We know something when Doctor Strange is off. We know, that Toby and Andrew's there. We know pretty much all the villains except for who possibly could be a mystery one that's not there. So it's just so many things that we know. But going into the movie, I'm really excited to see, to see this movie with him with Doctor Strange, and to see what this how this brings us into the multiverse and what ties in, because I'm is hyped as I'm to see Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm more excited to see what does this set up for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh yeah, yeah. Multiverse of Madness is something I'm looking forward to as well because of Sam Raimi. I think
Yeah,
Sam Raimi's a fantastic director, and the idea of him coming in and doing a Doctor Strange movie is kind of a dream come true if you like Sam Raimi
yeah,
and you're a fan of Doctor Strange. But I mean, I think that there's a pretty good chance that it's going to be Miles Morales at the end of all this, because I get the vibe that they're going for going for the Spider-Verse for the Into the Spider-Verse kind of vibe with all of these cameos and all of these heroes and villains. And I just feel like if that's what they're really trying to emulate in a live action format, it would make sense that we would at least get Miles Morales in this movie in some fashion. And I feel like that would literally set up a new path for Spider-Man, like what you just said, because you're going in
Yeah,
a completely different direction if you take it with Miles Morales.
I think that it's going to be a new path for Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I think we're going to start to be introduced to to Miles Morales, but I feel that whether there's an MCU version where it's Miles Morales over here, and then somehow we know Tom Holland's Peter Parker transitions to Sony, or whether there's just this introduction where he starts to mentor Miles Morales, and then eventually he comes to be the lead. I think Tom Holland's not necessarily done with Peter Parker. That's the only thing from
Maybe
everything that
not.
I've
Yeah,
seen.
maybe not. But I'm also wondering if what version of the story are they going to tell to bring in Miles Morales? I keep thinking about like the Ultimates, where they
Hmm.
where they literally where they literally kill Peter Parker off,
Yes. Uh
and
huh.
Miles Morales takes over the mantle due to that. And so I'm kind of wondering, well, if you have a storyline here where you have a ton of um, Spider-Men that are killed off, you could essentially set the tone for Miles to take over. But like you said, if there was a period of time where Peter Parker is mentoring or whatever, that could happen too. And then if that happens, you won't get the outright death of Peter Parker. But who knows? We might get the death of many Peter Parkers in this movie. I
Or
don't
we
know.
might even get like this spot where these things that have happened with, where he's gone to Doctor Strange, that maybe there's a time period where he exists where he doesn't have powers, in a different take on Spider Man with no powers, where as a result of this wish, maybe there's been this possible, because they do talk when you hear him say the things in the trailer about, you can't exist within two worlds, and maybe there's a point where he's trying to exist, hiding his identity and not being Spider-Man, and being in switching back and forth, and maybe there's a loss of power somehow, and Miles Morales for some short amount of time he begins to mentor him, and then gets his powers back, possibly at the end of a film, or something, in a way to introduce them where they still exist within the
Yeah.
spider
Yeah,
world.
and the fact that we're getting the multiverse on such full display here now, in both Marvel and DC, they're both focusing on multiverse
Hmm.
concepts. So when I look at this Spider-Man movie, it's like anything can happen, and the idea of setting up setting up new characters, setting up new paths, whatever. I think Doctor Strange is going to play a much bigger role than we realize in this too, because of his ability to manipulate the multiverse.
Yes, and then it could be as simple as, if we do get introduced to Miles Morales, just because we're talking about the multiverse here, that just he just comes from, in his universe, he is his version of Spider-Man. That it could be just a simple thing like that. So many
Hmm.
different possibilities.
Yeah, yeah. I think we can both agree that it's gonna be an interesting movie, to say the least.
Very interesting.
And there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna be thrown in here, and character cameos. I've got an idea, like, where I just expect there to be so many cameos from all of these movies. I'm even expecting to see, you know, uh, Sandman from the Raimi films to make a cameo as well, and Topher Grace's version of Venom also. I would not be surprised to see all of these characters come back in some fashion, whether it be for a moment or having an actual role. Maybe we'll get to see some sort of Sinister Six type of thing. I don't know. There's so much there's so much they can do with this, and so many things they can set up, especially given that Sony is in effect going to go their own way after this is done, or so it seems. Who knows?
We know that this is their last venture with Spider-Man, but Spider-Woman, and they still are going to be collabing in the future. So that's why I feel like the door is not completely shut for Tom Holland's Peter Parker to possibly exist, in the MCU, just because we know that the Spider-Woman movie's coming and they're going to be collabing there. And then there's another film on the horizon. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But Sony is setting up this world for Tom Holland's Peter Parker outside of the MCU as well.
Well, we have Venom. We have Morbius.
Venom. Wow, we have Venom.
We have Morbius.
Sad. Isn't that sad? We have Venom.
Do you think it's sad that we have Venom?
That version of Venom, yeah.
Which version of Venom do you want? I mean,
not some loser, weird voiced version movie that also felt like it was made, in 1999. It's just so silly. The film.
I agree with you. I think it does feel like it was made in the 90s.
It's silly. And just I don't care. And how do you have Venom without Spider-Man? And now you're gonna try to, go, backtrack and then introduce the two of them. And why does Venom care who Peter Parker is when there's no connection between the two of them? It just seems very strange. And I know the most exciting thing for me was in Venom 2 was the post-credit scene, but why it just doesn't make sense for Venom to have that reaction towards Peter. You have no history. And
that's one thing, and that's one thing that we can give to the Raimi trilogy. At least in Spider-Man 3, you did have a history, a little bit of a history between Peter Parker and Brock, so it made sense.
Even though it was executed poorly, at least it made sense, right?
But it still made sense, even though it was executed poorly. Yeah, I agree.
This makes no sense. Like none of it. When I'm looking, and then when I look at this and when I look at Eddie Brock is like a whole man. Excuse me, right? This Peter Parker is a kid. Like they're supposed to be equals.
Yeah,
it just makes no sense. Like unless you're gonna say this Venom is linked to, he can't be linked to Toby because Toby's already had his Venom, right? His Eddie Brock. Unless you're going to say this is Andrew's, Peter's Venom and Eddie Brock, then maybe. It just, to me, it also doesn't make sense from a narrative standpoint.
I'm kind of wondering why they didn't just do that, though.
It's like he's a grown man and he's a kid. Like none of it makes sense.
Right. I'm with you on that, too. I'm kind of wondering why Sony didn't just stick when they decided they were going to make these Venom movies. I don't understand why Sony didn't just go with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man for that universe, because it would make more sense. It would be you could kind of look at the way those movies were filmed, the Amazing Spider-Man movie. You could kind of look at those movies and see Tom Hardy's Venom fitting in more with that. I never understood why, when the MCU was doing their thing with Tom Holland, why Sony couldn't just continue using Andrew Garfield. he was established, and people seemed to like him as in the role. He was pretty good in the role. I don't understand the purpose of trying to shoehorn everything, and obviously Sony wants to be a part of the MCU. That's really what it was about more than anything else. But when you really think about it, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man
Or
that just makes so much sense.
exactly. And then another thing is like if you're gonna do this Venom story and Venom story and this Eddie Brock story, and maybe you're gonna have to backtrack and make, and now that he has this, you know, the symbiote, make the two of them rivals. Go with someone who's more of his equal, even like make the story, the opposite of Peter Parker's story. You know, they're both maybe he's a bit older, but he's experiencing a similar lifestyle, but maybe the things that he's experiencing, he doesn't have that mentor. He doesn't have people who believe in him, and that's why he kind of goes to a more darker path, right? We could have seen that instead of seeing Eddie Brock, who's like a 40-year-old man who wants to fight a 15-year-old kid, like, and that's not. And Eddie Brock and Peter Parker should be equals, and they're not, and that's what's weird about it.
Yeah, it is weird. It is. And Jesse Allen wants to know, do you think Toby's Peter will go emo again and dance? I wouldn't be surprised if they threw something like that in there just as a nod.
Or like a reference to it.
Right.
Like, I think that would be cool, but I don't want to see him dancing. It's cringy. It's funny now when you look at it, but I remember when I saw it, I was like, ooh, I'm embarrassed for you. But now it's like a good, like, moment, that makes me laugh and think about. But at the time I was like, why did they do this in this movie?
Yeah, it's crazy. And the film Elite says, Peter Parker is my favorite character in comics. His struggle and burden are very relatable, yet he always aspires to be better for others. That's true. That's true. I'm hoping. I don't know. I'm just excited about the prospect of seeing them all together.
Yes, I am excited
on screen. And the one thing I hope we get is the scene where Toby tells Tom Holland, with great power comes great responsibility.
I think it would be good to see that, and then even because we know that we haven't had a lot of Uncle Ben in the MCU other than an Easter egg. So with that introduction of these other Peter Parkers, maybe we can get that story from him, and in some type of flashback, or just him talking about, or a picture, something where there's an acknowledgement now, and a lot of people are,
I kind of feel like if Toby says that, though, I think like if Toby says that's like a great homage to Uncle Ben without actually having to really
we don't
reference
have to
Uncle Ben that much.
But I would like to. I think it would be good also to see it.
I do too, especially because we haven't seen Uncle Ben in the MCU. Really, and it's all kind of fallen on Iron Man to be Uncle Ben for Peter in this universe.
And if I feel like if we're going to see it, now is the time that it makes the most sense. With these other versions of Peter Parker who we've seen, the Uncle Ben, on screen. So the fact that if they come into this world and they bring up, if Toby's Peter Parker brings it up to him, it seems very natural, and it wouldn't feel like forced within the context of the film either. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I feel like if they want to introduce it, if they were going to introduce him at any other time, it wouldn't make any sense. But to me, it would make sense from a narrative standpoint,
And this is why Tom Holland Spider-Man should have gone with the spectacular Spider-Man route. Do you agree with that? You think Spectacular Spider-Man would have been a better route for Tom Holland?
I mean, no. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I am the type of, this is what I have to say. I enjoy Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It is different in the sense that it's kind of like this ode to these, classic 80s movies mixed with a story about a young man who has, supernatural abilities, right? So it's an interpretation, and it's slightly different. Yeah, he's with Iron Man in a lot of this stuff, and he's just, instead of him being much older, he's younger. Why do they do these things? Because of the Uncle Ben stuff. So a lot of it to me makes sense why they did it, but I understand that some of it's not very um so authentic as people would prefer. But I don't think I don't think it I enjoyed the way everything's played out so far.
Okay, so do you want to see more of the Iron Spider? I want to see him play Night Monkey one more time. I think the Night Monkey persona was my favorite from the last movie.
Monkey.
I like Night Monkey.
Yeah, I like Night Monkey. I think the Iron Spider suit was maybe in this movie might be destroyed, and it will be. I don't think that we're going to see a lot of it. Maybe in the future, I might be wrong, but I think that it seems, just from the way the movie looks, it seems like he maybe kind of begins close to the beginning of the movie in the Iron Spidey suit, and then the black suit comes later. So I'm wondering if that suit is retired, because we know that the main suit is the suit that he made at the end of Spider-Man, Far From Home. I do want to see Night Monkey. I love the Night Monkey suit. I thought that the whole thing, I like how they did it. I would like to see him in that again.
I actually really wanted him to just take that persona and just be the Night Monkey from here on out. Just abandon Spider-Man altogether and be the Night Monkey, because it just flowed so well with that character. And I have a $5 super chat from the film elitist saying, "I know you loved Venom. Let there be carnage." Ashley,
no.
Did you like that movie, Ashley?
No, it's a D-.
It was a D-. Wow. That's pretty. That's a pretty bad rating. And coming and coming. Well, you could say technically it's not really an MCU movie. Technically,
but it's a Marvel property, and it's sad.
It's a Marvel property, yeah. Well,
so sad.
I am like completely I'm completely devastated by the fact that you didn't like that movie. I thought you were going to say something really positive about the movie, but I get it and I understand why you didn't like it. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't like it either. So I can agree with you there. But I'm devastated that you didn't like it. I didn't like it either, though. Yeah. So thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I don't have any Marvel themed videos to play for super chats, so I do want to apologize. Immediately for that. But what I can do right now is, in the spirit of talking about haters and how we all have them when we start to make a splash on YouTube, here is somebody who allegedly tried to expose me and said that I faked my sub count. So here you go. Thank you again for the super chat. Yes, I got exposed. My channel is growing, so I got exposed. Thank you again for the super chat. And Papa Brad's Gaming says D-. Yeah, well, D-.
Gonna hate.
A D- is really, but again, it's not an MCU movie, really. It's a Sony Marvel partnership movie, so I guess it's.
Yeah, it's an associated with
Marvel. It really is bad. Yes, it really is. It really is bad. Yes.
Best moment. that that post credit scene. That is the only thing. It's just like I could have just waited to watch Avengers.
Because that literally puts Venom in the MCU.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm glad it was, a straight 90 minutes, that it wasn't longer
Just
than
like
that.
just
Like a
like a
Netflix
'90s movie,
movie, like, or
just
like
like a
something I could
'90s.
catch on Netflix. I'm like, hey, I got an hour and a half to kill before I
It
gotta
literally
do
should have
such and
went directly to
such.
Netflix. It really should have. It should have went directly to Netflix. That's how bad it was. I mean, and in fact, if it would have went directly to Netflix, it probably would have did better.
I mean, people
More
loved
people would have
it,
watched it.
but people loved the movie. Like, I feel like it just shows us how dumb people are.
Oh, and Kupi Malik says Tom Holland probably will retire being Spidey and go treasure hunting as Nathan Drake.
That movie
Yeah,
looks pathetic.
that's another movie that doesn't look very good. I'm actually surprised at how badly cast
I hope it's on
he
HBO
is.
Max because it's not even that it's just everything. It's like the trailer was like, I don't care. It's just, it didn't look very good. It looked like he was doing, he was Peter Parker, but he wasn't Peter Parker. You know, I don't know. He does seem too young. I hope it's on HBO Max because I don't really want to go to the
Yeah. Well,
theater.
that's
I
part of
don't
my
want to go
problem.
to the
I
movies.
don't really think it. I don't really think it's necessarily bad to cast him as Nathan Drake. It's just let him get a little bit older
Yeah,
before you make that movie. If you really want him to be Nathan Drake, because he does look a little bit young for that role. And I mean, it's just, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm used to playing the Uncharted games. I'm used to seeing
yeah.
Nathan Drake, and I have a certain uh, expectation for the character. So that's kind of my problem.
It's
When I say
weird.
he's miscast, it's not
I know
because I
what you
don't think
meant.
he could
Yeah.
handle it. I just think that he hasn't aged into the role yet. I think it's
And it's like Sony's like, he's our boy right now.
right,
So
right.
we gotta put him in this. We got this game. Oh, let's make a movie and cast him. It's like they're not even thinking about
We've got to sweeten the
what
pot because we want to keep him as Spider-Man after he leaves the MCU.
it's like what else? Like you could have made lots of other films that I felt like could have been like still big Tom Holland movies, and it not. And why did you go with that? It's just, to me it doesn't make sense. Like there's so many other characters that I think that would have made more sense than where the way they're going. But maybe they'll surprise us. But for right now, I don't really care about that movie at all. Like, you know.
I don't know if you're the only person who thinks that Tobey Maguire got him right. I think Tobey got him right. Really like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I've actually liked everybody as Spider-Man, but I would have preferred if Tom Holland stayed Night Monkey. That's just my
Like
view.
just to say that you prefer one over the other doesn't make it. Will never. I mean, I think that we gotta like remember. I don't feel that Tobey Maguire didn't portray Peter Parker in Spider-Man in a way that I felt wasn't a good representation of the character, right? I just prefer certain things that Tom does. I feel that he is able to navigate things between Spider-Man and Peter Parker that Toby could only grasp when it became more to the Peter Parker aspects of the character. And that's how I feel. And with Andrew, to me, he nailed a lot of those Spider-Man things more, right? And I feel with Tom, he is able to do both, right? And that's the only reason why I have a preference to him over the other two.
Okay. And Marcus Cruz says, Zod, imagine the post-credit scene. Peter says what happened to the Avengers Tower, and then we zoom in and we see the Avengers Tower instead of an A. We see a 4, and then the new Fantastic Four theme song plays. You really, you really think this movie is going to introduce the Fantastic Four too, Marcus? I, I don't know. That would be pretty lofty considering everything else that this movie is trying to do. This movie's got a lot of goals.
I think we maybe in the sense that we see something on the building that says the Baxter Building, and
Yeah.
then and maybe, but then I don't know because the way that I think that it might play out, it just depends on where, how does Ant-Man and the Quantumania fit into the bigger picture? The way I think,
Yeah.
but it makes sense. Um, Especially when you see the 1, 2, 3, 4 like in the construction zone at the bottom. But I think Ant-Man Quantumania might be an introduction to them, or it could be they already exist. This is the Baxter Building in Ant-Man the Quantumania. Maybe Scott and Hank, they reach out to these other scientists that happen to be, Reed Richards and, Sue. And then from there, maybe they get their powers from the quantum realm or something. Maybe it's that way. Other than the way that I think that possibly could happen in my mind. But it could, it being the Baxter Building makes sense. I believe it. But it doesn't at the same time because it's in a Sony movie. And then once these things show up, it's like this weird gray area between Marvel and Sony. So we don't know.
Yeah, if the Fantastic Four shows up, that would be odd in a predominantly Sony movie.
Yeah.
Knowing
Yeah.
that the MCU has big plans for the Fantastic Four. So I don't know. I that would be, if that happens, I'm just gonna say if that happens, I'll be surprised. Um Zod, I think they will tease it, to be honest, not show them, only show the Baxter Building, which is the Avengers Tower. Okay. Well, I could see them maybe doing that. Throwing that in there as like an Easter egg or just a little, nod to it
Yeah.
potentially. But so I guess because we're talking about Spider-Man and it's the big, it's the big topic, Ashley. What are you most looking forward to out of the MCU, being the MCU super fan that you are right now? Like,
Right
what is
now,
your
the film that I can't wait to see is Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. Like that is the one that I am absolutely on pins and needles for. I mean, I can't wait for December 17th. That's number 2. But the one that I am absolutely so curious to see is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness because I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. Wanda's my girl. I have I love Wanda Maximoff. So to see her come back and to be the Scarlet Witch, I'm so excited to see that. Mordo, I love him. Even though he has such a small part in Doctor Strange, the first film I feel like it's kind of understated in the things that he does and how he's parallels Doctor Strange, and then we know that he's coming back, and what kind of conflict is that going to bring to this bigger film, and what's happening with Doctor Strange in Spider-Man: No Way Home, and how will that affect Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Seeing these different universes and these different realities and these and these different characters, and hopefully completely different versions of characters that we might know, and it be more than just um same actor but I have different experiences, as a way to maybe bring some people back. I don't want to see anything like that. So, and
Now, do you think that the What If animated universe is going to tie into the Doctor Strange movie in any way?
I think Supreme Strange might possibly, that with him, just because he had such a big part of the first season of What If, this evil version of Doctor Strange. I feel like maybe that's who we're seeing in uh, No Way Home, or and then the fallout from that in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, or it could be something as simple as he's evil, but instead of him, being absorbed by this evil supreme, he becomes the evil supreme because maybe Wanda is controlling him, right? Because we know that her power, out, she's, when it comes to power scale, she's more powerful than him. We hear that from Agatha when she says, you're the Scarlet Witch, you're more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. So it could be some weird thing that Wanda's manipulating him because she wants to, exist these different realities where she can access her children. Because we see, at the end of the series, we hear her, she hears her voice. So maybe she's manipulating the Sorcerer Supreme, and he's this evil version of him.
Yeah, I don't know. I was really the WandaVision, that series was really that series was really hard for me, especially the ending. I kind of felt like it was all over the place. Like the show felt to me like it was going through like an identity crisis.
I
And
mean, as a character, she was. So
yeah. Yeah, well, as a viewer, I felt like I was. So,
but
mission
that's the
accomplished.
that's the madness of it. It was
I
somebody
get it.
different, and
I get
you're
it. Yeah.
experiencing all these different things because that's what
Yeah.
she's experiencing, and she's so powerful that she's warping reality and making these different things happen at different moments that are so wild from
Yeah, and
one moment to the
I just
next.
remember all the rumors. Oh, the Fantastic Four, they're going to show up. Oh, these people are going to show up. Oh, this, and this, and all we got was bootleg Quicksilver. So I just was, I was just like, okay, well,
I didn't like that. I thought I did not like, but I knew going out when everybody was like, "Oh, Quicksilver and Evan Peters' version," and I knew that he was not actually Quicksilver, but the fact that he was just some guy named Ralph Boner was silly. I thought it what I thought was, again, it had to do with Agatha because I thought, Agatha is controlling him. He is linked to Agatha, but I thought that, he was her familiar, her, the bunny who, is Richard Scratch, actually, because she has a son, Richard Scratch, in the comic book. So I thought that maybe, and she had used him in ways before in the comics, to manipulate him and, to gain favor with people. So I thought that he was maybe her familiar and she was able to, disguise him and to change his form and control him and, him really just be gaining information for her. But no, it's just a guy she's still controlling, but he's just some actor, it's just a
and then,
waste of Evan
but then again, I
Peters.
was like, okay, but then again, I
But funny at the
kind of
same
was
time,
thinking
in a way.
about, but then again, I was thinking about Doctor Strange, and I was thinking about the multiverse, and I was thinking about the idea of this could be Quicksilver, but just like a different version of him from the multiverse
Yeah.
somewhere. Maybe he's Quicksilver, but he doesn't know he's Quicksilver. I mean, all of these things because Wanda did have the ability to put mind control on everybody who was in her orbit. So technically, when you think about it, you know, all of these characters could have been important characters, and so the whole Quicksilver thing, I don't know. I was disappointed like you though. I was hoping that it was the real Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were other things I was hoping for too, and I was kind of hoping for Fantastic Four, since that was the big rumor at the time that the show was airing. And Kupi Malik says, I don't think Fantastic Four will come at this time. It seems like they're trying to go to the supernatural route with the Eternals post-credit scene with the Blade cameo and the arrival of the Moon Knight series.
I kind of agree with him in that way. I feel like we're going to get small little Easter eggs, and then going in to maybe the end of phase 5.
Yeah.
Then we might get a bigger introduction, because right now, and if you think about it, it seems like such a small story to introduce them, and until we get to like this battle world scenario, right?
Yeah.
I mean, introducing them as a team, sets that up. But right now, we're dealing with Eternals and Celestials and Kang and variants, and mostly in different, universes and multiversal wars. And
I love your excitement for all of this. You just sound like you're just ready to go, like a kid in a candy store, and that's awesome.
The Guardians, like all these big things that
yes.
The introduction to the Fantastic Four is something that I'm excited for.
Yeah. I mean, they've got to introduce the Fantastic Four.
It almost seems so small compared to where we are. It's just like, I enjoy Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
But it's going to lead into. But once you bring in Fantastic Four, you can lead into. You can eventually lead into Secret Wars. You can lead into Secret Wars. Secret Wars is going to be huge. Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
You want to talk about a big event. I mean, I remember reading the Secret Wars comic books as a kid. I mean, you want to talk about a big Marvel event. If they can do movies based off of that, that'll be huge.
Yeah.
But you need Fantastic Four for that.
Oh, and I agree. But I think that it's like after the stuff with Doctor Strange, after the multiverse, then we're going to be introduced to the Fantastic Four. And then it'll make sense. But right now, it's just like, until I see where we're going, overall, it just seems very small at this time when you think about it. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I want to see this team, just like when I think about the Thunderbolts. They're coming too, and it's going to be this weird, mashup of Thunderbolts and Dark Avengers. Right now, even they seem a bit small in this bigger context of the world of the MCU as of now.
Well, that was one of the things that I really liked about the What If animated series. The fact that it took a lot of concepts and things that we'd seen and was thinking outside of the box and giving us different takes and different things that we never would have expected. And I know there are a lot of people that complained about What If, but I found What If to be highly entertaining. Overall, what did you think about it?
What If had a lot more duds in it than gems.
You think so? I don't know. I'm one of those people. I love Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and those types of stories.
I love stuff like that. I love that. But I feel like some of the execution of it wasn't great. Like I loved the mystery one where Monday an Avenger would die. I like that episode a lot.
That was great.
I love the Sorcerer Supreme episode. I didn't care for the zombie episode. I didn't care for the first episode, the second episode. And I really didn't like the last episode, but I liked the second to last episode. So
did you like the Doctor Strange episode?
Yes, I did. That was my favorite. I really liked that.
Mine too.
I really liked that. And then second one was the mystery one where they were all dying. And then I really enjoyed and I enjoyed Jeffrey Wright. Like every time he would narrate it, like the opening of every episode and the ending when his voice would come up was my favorite every time. And my favorite
he's got a great voice. He's got a great voice there. He's doing the voiceover for Batman for this audio for this Batman Audio Adventures podcast on Spotify, and his voice is just, he's got this got a really
I
great voice
know.
for it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
But I like
Yeah.
when he said it was such a sad story when he opens up on Natasha and Clint, like talking about that episode, and when like they're going through the files, he's like, it's right there. Like I really like that episode. It took a lot, you know.
Yeah, the Doctor Strange episode was my favorite as well.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I can agree with you on that. And that brings me to this comment here. The Film Elitist says, Zod, you seem more of a DC guy. I'm more MCU. I like how respectful you are with the genre and not causing negativity like many channels. Much respect for your content. Well, thank you very much. I am a DC
he loves
guy.
the MCU.
I am a DC guy, but I'm also, a fan of all of this stuff. So, I watch all the movies. So I don't judge people, and I love having conversations with people like Ashley, who are just like totally all up on it, and we're able to really delve deep into these different concepts and storylines and stuff. It's just a lot of fun, and it's also good too not to be so one-sided, because don't get me wrong, I'm a DC fan. I always have been. I grew up on DC. I love DC, but you got to be able to branch out and talk about other things as well. Not everything has to be, one subject, and I don't like one trick ponies. I'll tell you.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that.
And you can love the DC and like certain things in the MCU, just like
Yeah. Like I said earlier, Daredevil from the Netflix show. Daredevil is my all-time favorite MCU product. I absolutely love that series, and I'm thrilled that Charlie Cox is appearing in Spider-Man, although I wish I didn't know he was appearing in Spider-Man. I wish it was a surprise, but I'm just glad that they're going to continue to utilize Charlie Cox, because I think he's great as the character. As a matter of fact, I would love to see a cameo of Ben Affleck's Daredevil in this Spider-Man movie as well, because it's going to deal with the multiverse and all that. I would just love to see like a cool scene between Ben Affleck's Daredevil and Charlie Cox Daredevil in the multiverse. Maybe if we don't get something like that in Spider-Man, maybe we'll get something like that in Multiverse of Madness, because I have a feeling that this Doctor Strange movie is going to show us all kinds of crazy stuff. Like if we think we're getting a lot of cameos in Spider-Man, Multiverse of Madness is going to just resurrect everything and totally set the stage for the Marvel versus DC movie that I believe is coming out within the next 5 years.
That would be great. That would be amazing.
I think it's happening. I mean, Eternals made all these references to Superman, to Batman, to the Justice League. The Eternals is basically setting up the stage for Marvel versus DC.
Maybe I would be surprised. That would be, if that happens, I would be so happy. I would do cartwheels and backflips and
I do believe it's going to happen. I do believe it's going to happen because of the financial aspect of it. First and foremost, a movie like Marvel versus DC has potential to make so much money. It doesn't matter what we think in terms of plot or whatever. The story could be absolute garbage, but the concept of having, Wonder Woman and Thor on screen together, or Superman and Spider-Man, or Batman and Captain America, or Batman and Iron Man, anything like that, it's going to make so much money. And there's been so many comic books and crossovers that Marvel and DC have done over the decades. And that's what a lot of people don't don't really realize when they talk about this Marvel DC rivalry that they have. Yeah, they've had a rivalry forever, but they've also done a lot of crossovers that have been very, very successful.
I think Warner Brothers just got to get their shit together for that.
Well, yeah, you won't see anything like that till after the merger,
Yeah.
and they get all their stuff together. Yeah,
I can
because
see
right now they are right now DC is definitely a house in disarray. They definitely are, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that statement, regardless of how big of a DC fan you may or may not be. I mean, they really do need to get their stuff together, and I think as after the merger occurs and the dust settles, then we'll start to see them get the ship in order. But for now, I mean, that's why right now there's nothing to talk about with DC because the whole thing is just messed up. It's terrible. So they have to set they have to set everything straight, get the house in order, and then we can talk about what's going to be big on that side of the spectrum. But yes, to answer your question, I am a big DC fan. And the Snyder Fan 99 says they did Quicksilver so dirty in WandaVision. Yes, they did. But that wasn't really Quicksilver though. That's what we have to realize. Yeah, he had the name Boner, so we can just let that sink in for a moment. I don't even know why. I don't even know why he came.
Ralph or Boner.
I don't know why why he even agreed to do that. That was so terrible.
That was like in a way, where people are always looking for leaks and spoilers. That was like Kevin Feige. That was like that was a Shug Feige and him being like, "Oh,
that was a troll move.
I'm about to troll you guys. Here's my middle finger to everybody."
Right? Oh yeah, everybody. Because again, like I said, the big rumor during WandaVision was Fantastic Four. That was the big rumor. They're going to be there. It's Reed Richards. It's like, yeah, right. Reed Richards. Okay. I mean, they were really playing it up. They were like, there was all these people that had all these theories. I mean, if you ever go on Reddit and you look at the crazy theories that they come up with, Fantastic Four was all over during WandaVision. There were people that were so convinced and had so many theories written out and so many different ways of how the Fantastic Four was going to tie into it, and it was going to lead to like a Fantastic Four spin-off series or something that they were going to do at one point. And I was like, well, I don't know. Aren't you guys expecting a little bit much out of this WandaVision TV show?
But it's like we're thinking it's the MCU. So mine wasn't. I was like, well, maybe Reed Richards would show up. My big thing is like Mephisto. I was on that Mephisto train.
A lot of people were on that too.
That's the one. I was really on the Mephisto train.
You were making those videos.
I knew it. I felt it. And I was like, he's coming. I mean, I was worried about a lot, but that one was so wrong. I was like, he's coming, guys. I feel it. And then he didn't go. So now I believe he is coming, but I'm not going to tell anybody now when I believe he's coming. I'm just going to wait and see if it happens.
So you have a theory about when you think he'll appear.
Yeah, okay. but I'm gonna just I'm gonna wait till it's maybe closer to that time and then say it. Just because they'll be like, the ramblings of a mad woman again. Here she goes. But
oh yeah, I've been getting so much crap for my Marvel versus DC movie theories. People are telling me that I'm like the ultimate conspiracy theorist and all this stuff. And I'm like, listen, you can go in and you can look at the articles that are continually being published where they're talking a lot about a possible Marvel versus DC movie. There was even an article that came out, I think just a couple days ago, where The Rock was talking about how he wants a Marvel versus DC movie. There's been rumblings about it. There's been several articles about it. I think James Gunn made a pitch to both Marvel and DC for a Marvel versus DC movie. So there's all this stuff out there, and so I don't feel like these are the ravings of a madman. I think that this is something that is going to eventually occur. Now, it may not happen as soon as I'm saying within the next 5 years. I believe that once Marvel and once DC has all their stuff in order, that deal will be made and that movie will happen, because it's Kevin Feige wants this movie to happen
I
too.
think he would want it to happen, but
I mean, are you kidding?
I think that Warner Brothers is not in a place where I think that he would feel comfortable.
Yeah, not right now, but that's what I'm saying. It's
doing something.
Once
I think he needs
as
to see the returns on Black Adam. He would want to see the return. How would these films? What is the feedback from the public, and then maybe the idea is there, like, if, and then once if Black Adam is this huge success, I could definitely see them saying that.
I have no doubt Black Adam is going to be a huge success. That movie has no room not to be a success.
Yeah.
You realize how long that movie's been in development? That movie's been in development since
15 years?
Back when The Rock was still steady wrestling and he was barely in any movies. He was still primarily a wrestler when that movie started.
We've also seen films like New Mutants, though, that have been circling around
I don't
forever.
Know. New Mutants.
But I'm just not saying it's not going to make them money, but is it going to be like an overall good film? Like, just asking the question.
I don't know. I think it is. I really think it will be good. It looks like it's going to be fantastic.
What the little it does, but then I feel like, are we going to get these really rock moments?
You never know.
That's what I'm concerned about. Not that.
But then again, I mean, we got Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
We've got a lot of. I feel like this is a really good cast, but then, and of course, Dwayne, he looks like a superhero, right?
Yeah, he looks like Black Adam, 100%.
Yeah, he absolutely does.
Like right out of the page. I mean, it's literally like I don't know, like he was born to play that role. So hopefully he just.
I just hope he doesn't like ham it up. He doesn't like give us the eyes and the.
Like you did with Hercules.
All of those. All that smoldering intensity, those cheesy moments that he.
We don't want to see Black Adam give anybody the rock bottom.
Yeah, we don't need to smell what he's cooking. We just need to
none of that.
Which God. I think he can do it.
Oh yeah, but he can. And he's definitely a draw. He's definitely a box office draw. So
he is. He is that. He is definitely all those things.
So we'll see what happens. The film, Alita says, Ashley, when is my boy Dr. Doom going to appear? Drop that knowledge on your boy.
When do I think Dr. Doom is going to appear? Ant-Man and the Quantumania is when I think we will see Dr. Doom. There might be some hints to him in, well, I don't know, Black Panther 2. You might just call it Black Panther Neverland at this point. I don't know. There might be some Easter eggs for him in that movie, but I don't feel like that he's going to be the focal point of Black Panther 2. I think that would be Ant-Man in the Quantumania. Makes the most sense.
Wow. Okay. I could say any particular reason why you think Dr. Doom is going to appear in that movie, but I'm sure you have. Because
I think that as a Fantastic Four is when we're going to get an introduction to them, and it might, and it's still, I feel like it'll be the beginning stages of Dr. Doom that we're going to see, because I don't think that they're just going to like because Doctor Doom is such a complex character that I think that them just rushing him in and making him the focal point for one movie and then he goes bye bye would be a disservice to the MCU. What I would prefer with Doctor Doom, and I know a lot of us think this because I've had lots of conversations with a lot of people. If we get this small introduction to him in Ant-Man and Quantumania, and then he gets his own solo movie, I think that out of all of the MCU villains, if he's going to get a solo movie, I think Doctor Doom would be great to see that as a solo film or origin film, to see how he becomes, you know, this, you know, this wonderful, great, massive villain, you know, in the MCU, and then build on that. I don't want to see him just come into this movie and be evil and not be a full fleshed out character. So I
and be
think a
and be killed
small,
by and be killed by the end
yeah,
of the film.
or locked away, and then we don't see him for 5 more years, you know,
Yeah,
or
I'm with you. I want a Doctor Doom solo film. I definitely do. I think he's a great character, and I would love to see that as well. That's I can't disagree with you because for me, one of my all time favorite Marvel movies of all time, and people who watch me already know what I'm going to say, and they already know what movie I'm going to pull out. The movie, this movie right here, Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. This
oh
right
my
here
gosh,
is the greatest, as far as I'm concerned, Marvel movie of all time because this movie
I
right
can't.
here literally like looks like it just jumped off the pages of like the 1960s Fantastic Four. I mean, you get everything. You get the cheesy dialogue, you get the very comic booky storyline, and I've seen this movie so many times. I can't even call it a guilty pleasure anymore, Ashley,
It's
because
very
I've
cheesy.
watched it. I've watched it so much that it's so cheesy, but it's very good, and it's very much of the original Fantastic Four comics from back in
It
the those times. So I do
it's very
I love
golden
that movie. It
age
has a
era.
special it has a
Yes,
special place in my heart. It's very great, and I actually really do love the characterization of Doctor Doom in that movie, and I would
yes.
love to see him done properly in the MCU. So hopefully
It's
that
very golden
happens.
age. Yeah, I can give you that. It's just that
Oh
movie.
yeah, definitely. It has almost the same kind of visual effects, the style. It actually looks like because it was made in the 90s,
Yeah, it was made.
but it
Yeah,
actually looks like it was
it was
made in the
made, and it,
1970s.
it does. It does. Yeah, it does really look like something that was made in the
Like it
70s.
like it could totally fit in with like the 1970s Incredible Hulk TV show. It could
Did
like
you?
totally fit in with that era.
And you like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love the 1970s Incredible Hulk. I'm telling you. Oh my god,
You
that
need to
that
talk
I
to
could
Nerd Man.
I could I could watch that 70s Incredible Hulk if I was stuck on an island and they only said, "Okay, ZodWriter, you can only have one TV series that you can watch while you're stuck on this island." And they're not going to tell me how long I'm going to be stuck on the island, but they tell me I will eventually be able to leave the island. I would take the Incredible Hulk with me because
Oh,
that series is fantastic. I mean, there's so
it
much
was
in
good. I
there that
enjoyed
just,
it. I
oh my
did.
god, I love it. I love it so much.
But
Even the cheesiness that Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk, but Bill Bixby was fantastic as Banner. Oh my god, he took the role so seriously. It was played so beautifully. I just love it. Like
it's
to
very,
this
I did
day.
enjoy I mean, so I understand it. But yeah, that show. So I said, you sound like a sensible nerd man when it comes to that because he loves that show too.
It is. It's a wonderful show. Integrity wants to know, hello, any Rocky fans? Just saw Rocky 4 in theaters. It is a significant improvement. More Apollo, more heart,
Oh,
more
can't wait.
story, better fights, deeper meaning. No need to ever watch the theatrical version
Oh,
again.
wow.
Okay, well, Integrity, I only have one question for you. Is all the music, the original music that was in the theatrical cut, intact? And you know what songs I'm talking about, man. All that great arena rock, is that all still in the movie? That's all I want to know. I'm excited to watch it. I can't wait. I can't wait to
I've
see
got
it.
to get.
I,
I've
I
got to
believe it's
see
on
it.
video. I think it's on video tomorrow. So that's cool. I'll definitely be seeing it.
I like Rocky a lot, so I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
get that. Yeah.
those movies are all awesome. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Chen. And Papa Brad's Gaming says Zombies was my fave, talking about What If. And Marcus Cruz wants to know, does Ashley like Daredevil?
The show? Yes. Yes. I really like Daredevil. I'm excited, and that's another reason why I want going back to the Spider-Man No Way Home leak, why I was so like upset, you know, about the Charlie Cox thing, you know, because to me, to see him come back and you know, to be back in this role, I was so excited to see that. I love the show. And probably I'm thinking about rewatching it soon after I finish watching, because I'm rewatching Breaking Bad for the seventh time so far. So I've
Oh,
been doing that.
I love Breaking Bad. I actually just
Ooh,
finished.
I love it.
I'm gonna rewatch Breaking Bad pretty soon too. Coming up, I just finished rewatching The Sopranos because of Many Saints of Newark.
Yeah.
That got me thinking. I'll go back and rewatch Sopranos, and now that I've refinished that, I'm thinking about revisiting Breaking Bad as well.
See, I've been rewatching Breaking Bad because I want to rewatch Better Call Saul. And I was
Hmm.
going to do it in reverse. Originally, I was like, I'm going to start with the Better Call Saul and then do Breaking Bad, because even though you get flash forwards of things that happen in Better Call Saul is really a prequel on how the road to,
Yeah,
you know,
primarily.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to do it that way. And then I was like, no. And then I was like looking, and I was like, and I just happened to put it on Breaking Bad, and I started the other way. So probably once I finish that, when it comes to rewatching something, I'll probably do that then. And that'll be closer to probably when Noah Helm's coming out, so that'll get me even more invested in it all over again, and to be
Yeah.
excited now
That's
that
right.
I
I even
definitely know he's going to be here. I really am going
I
to make
even
sure I
watched
watch it all.
the Spanish version of Breaking Bad when they
Oh,
had
did
that
you?
on Netflix. It was called I think it was called Metastasis or something like that, and
Okay.
it was like a Spanish remake of Breaking Bad, like a shot for shot almost.
Oh,
And
cool.
it had, and you could watch it with English subtitles, and so it was interesting. It was interesting to see it all played out with different actors. I don't know if they still
Oh,
have it
that'd
on
be.
Netflix or
I have to
not, but
check that
it
out.
was it was pretty cool. It was
That
pretty
sounds
cool.
cool.
And Kupi Malik wants to know, Ashley, why do you think what Thanos did was not scrutinized by the Living Tribunal?
I remember in the original drafts, that he was going to be going in front of the living, like Doctor Strange, was going to have him encounter the living tribunal. And then he would have not been found guilty, apparently, at the time. And then he would have been able to continue on with what his plan was. Um, I wonder, and they felt that it was too much to introduce him. Now the idea of the character being introduced, and I wonder if now, um, I feel like we're setting up to be introduced to the living tribunal in the future. I think that we weren't then, just because they felt that it was too much to put in the movie. I think that it would have made sense to people who understand who the Living Tribunal is. But for the character just to be thrust in the film, to me, it makes sense why they didn't do it. Because there's no context for who the Living Tribunal is in this world. So I think that's why they didn't do it with Thanos. But I would have preferred to have seen that moment with Thanos and the Living Tribunal, him go on trial, and then him actually then say he's not guilty, that he couldn't proceed for whatever reasons that they found. And I would have liked to see that in the movie, but we didn't get that for other reasons, for reasons that they felt like it would make sense to the general audience.
Well, one of the major things that bothered me about the whole Infinity War storyline was that we didn't get Adam Warlock. That was one of the major elements that upset me, because I was like, you need that character. That character was so integral to that whole plot line. We need Adam Warlock. And allegedly now he's going to be introduced.
Well, yeah, he's coming now, a day late and a dollar short. But I'm excited to see Adam Warlock. But I would have preferred that we would have had the introduction to him first, then get us into Infinity War. But we have to think about it. Was he really the way that they told the story outside of those main 6 Avengers? They weren't going to give anyone a big enough spotlight to shine in that movie. So I think
you make a great point.
So just because of the world that exists within the MCU. So Adam Warlock, who has such a big role in that, he would have taken over this Avenger film, right? And it's as much as we would have, if they could have put him in the movie and maybe downgrade his role a bit, I think people would have been upset.
Well, same with Silver Surfer. I mean, think of how big Silver Surfer was in the original comic book storyline.
And they changed that, to the whole.
All of that. They changed so much. I mean, right down to Thanos' his obsession with death was completely
that one didn't
removed.
bother me as much, in the sense that it was more just because in the MCU, yes, we see stories where love drives, specific characters, about relationships. But to see it be,
I kind of felt like they tried to give him
the
that
love of his home
love.
planet.
They tried to give that relationship with his daughter, with Nebula.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like they tried to
with Gamora. With
Gamora, excuse me.
And even before that, it was the love of Titan, right? And his people dying off, and then them not listening to him. Instead of being a rational thinking, he let that trauma of that experience, drive him to to this thing that he felt was his purpose,
Right.
So I feel like love was still his ultimate motivation, but it was just, expressed in a different way with Thanos.
Yeah, I agree with you there too. And Integrity 101 says Stallone just knocked it out of the park. Sorry, I'm off topic, but it was awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see it again. Allegedly, it'll be on demand on video for all to see tomorrow, so won't have long to wait to check it out. Glad you got to see it on the big screen, though, Integrity. That's pretty awesome. And Marcus Cruz says, yeah, Zod, everybody was convinced that John Krasinski's Reed Richards will appear in WandaVision. I'm not going to say I was convinced that Reed Richards was going to appear in WandaVision. I just remember reading a lot of people thinking that for sure. Yeah, it was.
Because everybody thought that, she referenced a scientist, the things that Tiana Parrish was saying, and, hyping up certain things. People thought that these things were going to be bigger than what they were. And I did too, but I wasn't necessarily. So does it Reed Richards? I don't know. And even, we saw other people in the show do it too. It's just like they hyped up things that made us think there were going to be these big things that we were getting. And that's not how it played out.
And all we got was bootleg Quicksilver. He wasn't even Quicksilver. He was boner. Okay.
Pretending. He was pretending to be.
Pretend, and he wasn't even who he was. He was pretending to be that. He was just somebody random that Wanda
And
happened to pull out of the ether, and
yeah.
yeah.
But it's just like I feel the thing that upsets me the most is like I think using Evan Peters in that way, I just was like, ooh, silly.
Yeah,
That they
why? You didn't need him. You could have had any actor play that role. That's what made me think it was supposed to be some sort of multiverse tinkering or something, because we know who that character is, for all
yeah.
intensive purposes. But then the way it was used in WandaVision, it was just like, again, like Snyder fan said earlier, he was done dirty. I mean, clearly. I mean, I don't understand why that was necessary, but
It
it is.
wasn't.
It's okay. Whatever. Kuma Rev says, "What's up, Zod? Marvel DC crossover is possible. The Rock wants to do it. Yeah. The Rock wants to do it. He's gone on record as saying he wants to do it. So I think that's one of the main things that will drive it now, if The Rock wants it, because he's a big draw, especially if Black Adam is successful."
Yeah.
Daniel Martin says, "They had me so hyped up with all the rumors from WandaVision. I honestly thought Hugh Jackman was going to come through a portal and tell Wanda, 'Come with me, kiddo.'" Well,
Yeah.
now see, that's another thing too. There were so many rumors about that show. People were just like over the moon with all the things they thought they were going to see. And that's why I'm trying not to be so overhyped for, the new Spider-Man, because I'm expecting cameos from one corner of Spider-Man lore to the other. As
Mm-hmm.
a comic book, as a Spider-Man comic book reader as a kid, I'm like sitting here thinking, "Oh my God, we're gonna see this, and this, and it's just gonna be incredible." We're even gonna see we're gonna see Sam Raimi's version of the Vulture pop up in there too. John Malkovich. They're gonna get him out of mothballs and have him come and make an appearance in the movie too. I'm like telling myself all these things, and the lizard, from Sam Raimi's
Yeah.
Spider-Man movies, he'll show up in there too, and hell they'll bring Bruce Campbell back, and they'll let Bruce Campbell play Ash from The Evil Dead, and they'll just throw him in there too, just for the hell of it. I mean, there's all these things that I'm thinking about, but like that it's not going to be that way. Like the hype always overwhelms what the expectation
Yes.
actually
And I
is.
really, with WandaVision, he's talking about, of course, Wolverine. I thought, no, I didn't think I was going to see Wolverine in WandaVision. I was thinking, oh, here we are. Here comes Falcon Winter Soldier. We know they're going to Madripoor. We were thinking, is there going to be a mutant there? Who is the power broker, right? All these things. I'm like thinking all this stuff, hyping up myself yet again after I just learned the lessons from WandaVision. Didn't get any of that and got this weak reveal of who the power broker was. So then going into Loki, even though we were getting all the signs, Kang is there, I did not think for a second that Jonathan Majors was going to show up at all. In any form or fashion, because I was like, we basically get it. Who is somebody within the story, some we've already been introduced to, even though we were getting these representations of Jonathan Majors Kang, in images that looked like Kang, I was just like, it's not going to happen. I was observing my expectations because I was so hyped and so at the top on these other things that when it did happen, I was like, oh shit, there he is, even though he was He Who Remains, it was still a version of Kang. And so that I was really excited because I didn't believe it was going to happen. So in that moment, by me like tampering myself down, once I saw it, it was just like, oh, this is happening. And I was so hyped for it. But I didn't think it was going to happen. I would have bet $1 million that Jonathan Majors is not showing up in the season finale of Loki, just based off what we've seen.
I'm glad that you didn't bet $1 million. And the Snyder Fan 99 says a Marvel versus DC movie is inevitable. I agree. And the film elitist wants to know, the Batman looks incredible. I'm very excited. What do you guys think? Well, I have an exclusive clip from that movie that was sent to me by the WB. And so the next person that gives us a super chat for tonight's show, you guys will get to see that exclusive clip from the Batman that I have specifically for when I do the shows. Oh yes, it is an exclusive clip. It's some good stuff. It's some good stuff. Ashley, what are your thoughts on the Batman?
I'm excited to see it. I think it looks interesting. I think it looks very grounded. So I'm excited. I don't, to see what the film's about. I feel it's going to be more of a psychological thriller type of movie. I got like a lot of Zodiac vibes.
Zodiac Killer, Seven.
Yeah, that type of feel from it.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm really excited.
This type of thing. Yeah. Katsuka 92 says, I feel like Black Adam has been around longer than the MCU. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's been in development longer than the MCU. And we've got a super chat here from Daniel Martin. Thank you, Daniel Martin. I appreciate this. Shield your eyes, Ashley, and I have to deliver on my promise now. As I stated, I will show an exclusive clip from the Batman given to me by the WB. So this is for all of you, those of you that have been watching my late night Q&As and have been seeing, have probably seen this clip before. I apologize for the graphic language and the violent nature of the material that you are about to witness.
What's up, kid? Hey, you want some price for that cake? All right, what's up? What's up? We should just go blast the motherfucker. Hey, come on, let's go blast that fool. All you guys do is what I'm saying. That's the one doing no shit. Man, I should just blast the rest of the stupid. Serious, like we gotta blast the fool, man.
Freeze. Don't even think about moving. Turn that fucking noise off. I should shoot every last one of you just based on the music you listen to.
Hey, check this clown out. Halloween until October. Didn't we kill his chingada mind already?
No, I'm not here to trick or treat, but I'm definitely here to turn you fucking douchebags into permanent ghosts. Get on your knees and interlock your fingers behind your head. You bitches get your ass in that room, and I swear to God, if I see a sliver of light in that door jam, I'm gonna have each and every one of you suited for a white sheet with black holes for eyes, you feel me?
I fucking killed you, dog! I left you for dead in the alley that night. You ain't even fucking here. You're a ghost, vato.
You killed the man, not the cause. You thought you were pretty badass out there destroying people's lives, didn't you? Well, I'm here to settle the score for every last person you victimized in this city.
You know who you're fucking with, you stupid motherfucker?
Yeah, I know who I'm fucking with. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, and dead as evil Knievel.
Nah, motherfucker, you know what? You're fucking with pure evil. We got our homies on the bureau. They'll be back any second, dog. You know what? Regardless, you ain't getting out of here alive. You're done, that's it.
That may be true, but I'll live long enough to piss on your fucking grave. Judge not, that I not be judged. Though I walk in the shadow of darkness, my shield is my vengeance, my armor is my hatred. My weapon is my Father, His Son, and her Holy Ghost. This is a message from this city. Every mog has its day. Vatos.
He killed him.
There you have it, an exclusive clip from the Batman. Thank you very much, Daniel Martin, for the super chat. Ashley, are you more excited or less excited for the movie now that you've seen that exclusive clip?
Well, let's go with less.
I gotta tell you, yeah, when I realized the level of violence that movie has on display, I'm with you. I really, I don't know. He's a little bit too brutal for me. That's not my Batman. Koopy Malik says, gotta go. Great streams on, and best regards to Miss Ashley. Bye all. See you later, Koopy. Thank you for stopping by tonight, man. Appreciate you being here. Yeah. That really, I mean, that Matt Reeves, the Robert Pattinson, that's a little bit much for me. That's oof. Okay. So let's go back to the MCU now that we've addressed the elephant in the room. Have you seen the Eternals yet?
Yes, I have. I've seen it.
Can you talk a little bit about how you feel about it? Because I haven't seen it yet, and I've been hearing a lot of mixed things, and I've gotten more and more excited. Every time I hear a negative review, I get more excited for it for some reason.
I will say there's a lot of characters in the movie. There's some that I think I get why you're here, but you don't need to be here, because I would prefer to have seen more from other people in the movie. The ones that for me, Kingo, Fastos, I really like them a lot. I know some people didn't care for Gemma Chan as Circe. I liked her as Circe. So though, and even Gilgamesh, she didn't have a lot to do, but I liked his character. Angelina Jolie, she doesn't have a lot to do, but what she has to work with and the character traits that she needs to exhibit, perfect for Angelina Jolie. I didn't care for Sprite. I didn't understand why Dean Whitman was really in the movie. I think it made for cool later in the movie. I didn't like the first post-credit scene that much, but I did overall enjoy the movie and the message and the story that they were trying to tell about love and you know, really understanding the ones that stuck out the most to me, Fastos, and just his stake and his personal stake in this fight that he has to, you know, experience, you know, in the climax of the movie. I feel that made his story out of all of the Eternals the most personal story, really, because it was kind of closer to a human story. I did enjoy Icarus. Icarus, you know, he's basically the Superman in the movie. And he does a really good job. I kind of hate some of the things they do with him later. But I did like him. I just didn't like some things I felt were rushed, and I just didn't enjoy it. But the one that just really throughout the movie that just bothered me the most was Sprite. I didn't like her ugly haircut. I didn't like her motivations. I just felt that she was whiny at times, and I felt that she had I wish her part was smaller. Well, thank you, Peter. You know, all these things. But I enjoyed it. I think that some things within the plot and the story were slightly silly, but overall, the message and even Kango's, I always forget his name, his valet, and even the funny moments, it's very contained to like one specific characters, and the jokes most of the jokes in the movie land, but it doesn't take away from the serious nature of the film either. You understand? I'm trying to tell you things without telling you, you know? And so the humor is quite good. You know, Kingo and his valet, a lot of the humor is contained to the two of them. Just like in Black Widow, like a lot of the humor was contained to, you know, Red Guardian. In Shang-Chi, even though I feel like it didn't land, was with, you know, Satterley, which a lot of that was horrible. Once he came into that movie, it just ruined the movie for me. But within the Eternals, it works. You know, it's very funny, but it's not off-putting, and it doesn't take away from those serious dramatic moments. You know, it's not like, here's a serious moment, I'm going to cut it with a joke, and even if there is a joke, it feels like an awkward distraction from something serious that has happened. It's a good movie.
Okay, well, I personally did not like Black Widow at all. So I want to know, because I didn't like Black Widow, do you think I'll like Eternals still?
I think you'll like Eternals. You might like Eternals more. Visually, Eternals.
Than you did?
Yeah. Visually, Eternals is it's a beautiful film. The cinematography is amazing. All of it. It just looks visually, it's probably the best MCU movie from a visual standpoint.
Okay.
The tone of it, even though I think the tone of Black Widow was a little bit more serious than other MCUs, even the tone of this movie, the serious nature of it, and the type of films that I think that you enjoy, I feel like you'll enjoy this. I think you will enjoy this more. You know, it's a good movie. Just some of it, I feel like some of the characters, I understand there's a lot of characters in the movie, you know, so there's people who are underdeveloped, but then there's people who I think, why are you, you know, there are really good things from these other characters that I think that if maybe you just removed a few of these other characters, gave a few smaller roles, that for me it would have been a better film, just because who I feel the connections with, who, you know, and a lot of people had issues with, you know, Fastos, you know, being a gay man and being, you know, his sexual orientation being swapped. It's not something that you feel like it's being thrown in your face. It all makes sense to who his character is, for his family and the people that he loves. You know,
Okay.
It's just part. It's not who he is. It's just his life. You know, because, you know, sometimes people can do silly things but it works. He's the best character of the film. And Makari, her speedster stuff is really cool.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I've been hyped about it for a while. And like I said, every time I read another negative review on the movie, I get even more intrigued. And I've read a lot of stuff about people that have liked it and stuff, but I don't know. I think you're right though. I have a feeling I have a feeling I'm really gonna enjoy the movie though. That's why I'm not saying anything until I see it. Because it's just like, and if it ends up being my favorite MCU movie, then I'll probably end up buying it on Blu-ray.
And you know, the thing about it, Zod, is like the critics are silly, and then a lot of the criticisms before is the MCU is so, you know, they have this formula that they stick to, right? You know, all MCU movies are like this, right? That's what they'll say. But then what was one of the major complaints of this movie? It doesn't feel like an MCU movie. Okay, what do you want?
I know one of the things that got me excited, one of the things that got me super excited was when they went around, people have gone around saying Zack Snyder is the blueprint. And the director of the Eternals has gone on record as saying that Zack Snyder's version of Superman inspired.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you see it because it's a very real, like he tormented kind of in ways. I mean, you see it. I mean, he, you know, you really do see it. And for me, it works in the context of this film. He was the inspiration of Icarus, and you can see it. You really do.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I can't wait. I cannot wait. And I am ready to watch The Mandalorian, but you have to be my watch partner, Ashley. Are you excited about more about these upcoming live action Star Wars?
Yes.
The things that we're getting. Are you looking forward to Ahsoka?
Yes, the one that I'm the most excited for is the Book of Boba Fett, though. I love Boba Fett, so I'm really, really excited for that. I can't wait. I can't. Disney Plus Day, early morning. Can't wait to see all the stuff that we're gonna get. I'm excited for Ahsoka, but Boba Fett is. I can't wait. I think I've watched that trailer like so many times. I love The Mandalorian. The last episode of season 2, I was like literally crying.
Oh yeah. It was mind blowing. It really was.
It is.
I mean, all of Star Wars fandom held their breath and literally were in unison for a short time. Before
it was just like this.
They went back to being at each other's throats.
I know, it was beautiful, but it's so epic, and we need more of those Star Wars moments,
Yes, we do. I agree, 100%. Yes, yeah. I'm excited too. I'm looking forward to Book of Boba Fett. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think it's going to be good. Ahsoka is going to be fantastic. I mean, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi coming. I mean, it's a lot of great stuff. I mean, it's definitely.
I think where Disney failed with their films, it seems like they're succeeding with the shows. Like
the riding the ship with the show
is my favorite show. Like, and I love the MCU, and people so where does WandaVision compare to Mandalorian? Like, there's not.
It doesn't compare to Mandalorian. It
doesn't compare. Like, the Mandalorian is like on living in the penthouse, right? In my book, and like Wanda's like on the 4th floor somewhere. And then, all the other Falcon and all the other shows, it's just like, to me, it's season 2, season 1 was epic and I loved it. But season 2 just like doubled down and just like made everything bigger in that world. Episode 2, I didn't care for of season 2, The Mandalorian, but everything else I enjoyed, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. And I can't wait for the Book of Boba Fett. I can't wait for all of it.
A lot of great stuff. I'm right there with you on the Disney Star Wars TV stuff. It's fantastic. And Integrity 101 says that the 80s music is still intact in Rocky 4. 1/3 of the film is new footage. After seeing the film, I'm surprised Stallone cut so much the first time. But that just goes to show you how they cut movies for time. They cut movies for all kinds of ridiculous reasons. And studios should always let the creatives do their thing. And Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 is inevitable. And I'm ready to heal the wounds The Last Jedi left. Well, I will say this. I feel like The Mandalorian has gone a long way towards beginning that process. I mean, at the, again, the ending to season 2 of The Mandalorian put a smile on every Star Wars fan's face. If you've ever been a Star Wars fan at any point in your life, you couldn't look at the ending to The Mandalorian season 2 and not be a little bit happy. Not walk away, at least feeling a little bit nostalgic.
I was like literally in a watch party, didn't have my camera. I'm so glad I didn't when I'm saying like I was crying, is like snotting. It was just intense.
You were snotting?
No, I'm doing it all.
I know, I cried too. But we all have to admit we cried during that scene. We all did. We all cried a little bit.
gosh.
It was just one of those things where like it was like the tears were coming out before you even realized why the tears were coming out.
Yes.
It
And
was
then
one of
like the
those
tear
moments.
you had that moment and then the things that happen within the moment. Like after you have this like wow reveal and then what's happening with Mando and all that stuff too. It's just like all of it. It's very good. It's probably one of the best season finales like of a show. Like it was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
good.
because it's something that nobody expected.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people thought that it was Ahsoka coming in to save them at the end. I don't think anybody really expected that ending, and the fact that they were able to keep that quiet is surprising considering all the nonsense that's come out of
Yeah.
Lucasfilm as far as leaks and things like that go. So
Yeah.
yeah, but wow, guys, I want to say this has been an amazing show. Ashley, this has just been incredible. This has been a lot of fun. I feel like I could spend all night talking to you about this stuff. This is so much fun. We will definitely have to do this again. But wow.
Absolutely.
Wow, guys. I hope all of you enjoyed tonight's late night Q&A, all of you in the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay, you actually get to see how wonderful Ashley the Widow is. And I couldn't be happier that we had an opportunity to do this tonight because, we talked about so much fun stuff. I rarely get to because I'm always flying my DC flag. I rarely get to hang out and, and kind of geek out a little bit about Marvel too. So we've got another super chat here from the Film Elitist. Everybody sub to the Widow. Her channel is fire. Great conversation from both of you. Nice talking to you, Zod. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being here. And I hope, hope you'll come back again, Ashley.
Absolutely.
Because
I
there's
always enjoy talking to you,
probably
Zod.
a ton more stuff we could talk about, and there's so many more movies and shows and things coming out. It's just going to be fantastic. In fact, I can't wait to have you. I want to have you on again after I've seen the Eternals, and we can
Yes.
really have
You can tell
a
me what you
discussion
thought.
about the Eternals because I actually because I liked Shang-Chi.
Did
People
you?
were really hard on Shang-Chi, but I thought Shang-Chi was okay. I didn't hate it like I thought I was. I thought I was gonna hate it based on what I was hearing, but I thought it was all right.
See here,
It was
my thing,
okay.
I have like mixed with it. Like visually beautiful,
Yeah.
loved it up until I felt like it just got to a point where I think it kind of started to go downhill. As soon as Trevor Satterley came into the picture, as soon as we're talking about like this weird demon possessing, it just seemed like the way the story was laid out, and then it just seemed like they gave us two movies in one, but it wasn't a bad movie.
Right. I didn't hate it. And I was happy about that given all of the negative press that the movie had gotten. I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna hate this movie. But I didn't hate it, and that made me happy. And I know that's kind of a low bar to say, well, you didn't hate it, so it was. But no, I mean, it was just okay. It was an average movie. It definitely wasn't the best that we've seen from the MCU, but it wasn't the worst either. So, I mean, for me, that title goes to Black Widow, but that's just my viewpoint. I don't know what it was about Black Widow, but I hated every moment of it. Like from beginning to end, I just was irritated the entire film. And then when it ended and led into setting up a Hawkeye TV show, I was just like, but I don't care about a Hawkeye TV show.
I do.
I think that's like the worst thing they could do. Why are they doing that? Like what?
Because the Matt Fraction run, the Hawkeye comic, is a really good comic book. It explores this gritty underbelly of New York City, and gangs.
But is that going to translate into a Disney Plus TV show?
From everything that I'm understanding, it gives you those Netflix Marvel TV show vibes.
I don't know. The one thing that gives me those vibes that I'm super excited about from a fan perspective is Moon Knight. I think that's going to be
I'm
incredible.
really excited.
I still can't believe that Moon Knight is coming to Disney Plus. I'm just like, okay, really?
I'm excited. I mean, we got some little bloody moments in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and you kind of
we got bloody moments in Star Wars too.
Yeah, we did.
Mandalorian. So if Disney Plus is going to have to allow a little more with Moon Knight, or they're going to have to dump Moon Knight over to Hulu because you can't.
Yeah, I think that they can. I think that they're going to do it in a way that
Moon Knight is more Daredevil and Punisher than it is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah, and that's what I feel like Hawkeye's not going to be so.
Oh, okay, so Hawkeye's going to be more like Falcon and Winter Soldier then.
No, I feel like it's going to be closer to the Netflix shows. Like, I feel like
really,
I feel like we got a little bit of the blood in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just from what I'm gathering. We know Kingpin is going to be in the show, and from everybody that I've heard that's seen the first 2 episodes, it gives you those Netflix and Marvel shows where it's kind of that gritty, fighting type. In your face, ground and pound.
I'll have to give it a shot. Then we'll see. I don't know.
The only complaint that I was like that, yeah. And then if Hawkeye loses his hearing and all these other things, it could be interesting.
But isn't his daughter going to take over as Hawkeye?
No, Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop is coming.
Kate Bishop is coming. Okay.
Yeah, which will be the first real introduction to a real young Avenger. That could take over.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure what direction they were going to go with that. But
from what I hear,
I didn't think it was going to be Jeremy Renner the whole time.
It's like very heavy Kate Bishop is from what I've heard from the first 2 episodes. And then like his character is dealing with very raw, real gritty things, type of, we don't know, kind of, from the fallout of him being Ronin, like, when he was, avenging what happened to his family. And dealing with those demons.
Yeah. So me and Ashley, we're going to start doing a weekly Marvel show at this point. I know I had been saying we were going to end the show a few minutes ago, and then we kept going. But we will be. But we'll do more. We'll do more. I want to bring Ashley back as much as possible. This was a lot of fun. So thank you again, Ashley, and good night, everybody.